Welcome back to the Flyin podcast. We got a full crew tonight talking a little bit of FC Cincinnati. They played a 2-2 tie against Charlotte this past weekend. And if you can't tell by our voices tonight, the three of us went to the US game on Sunday as well. So we're going to recap a little bit of that one too. But how we doing, boys? Sam, let's kick us off. How you doing, man?
Yeah, doing good. Glad to be back. Zach and I both missed a week the past 2 weeks here. So glad to have us all back full throttle Flying Line podcast. Like you said, coming off a U.S. men's national team, watching them and all three of us, it was the first time that we got to watch a game together, all three of us. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, everything is going good. I'm excited to talk about the upcoming games.
Yeah, I mean, likewise. Good to be back with everybody. It's a different dynamic when you've got three. When you have two, there's a lot more talking involved. I'll tell you that much. But no, it's been good. Looking forward to the second half of the season and kicking off strong.
It's a little bit different tonight compared to last time too, Zach. I think that was a pretty early morning podcast, but I think we rocked it. I think we did pretty well. I liked it.
Yeah, good call. I was gonna say that it in my opinion, it was a lot better doing it in the morning than this late at night stuff.
All right, well, let's get going here and talk about the Charlotte game. Like I said, it ended up in a 2-2 draw, but if you're watching early on in about the first 20 minutes, you probably had a heart attack like I did when I was watching at least the first part of the game. So if you guys missed it or if you just saw the recap, yeah, we ended up in a tie, but the first half was a little bit rough. I would say that probably goes for our Charlotte game and the U.S. men's national team game, which we'll get into here in a little bit. Both first halves were a little bit lifeless for the teams that we support. So, Sam, what do you think of at least in the first half of the Charlotte game for FC?
Yeah, I mean that pretty much sums it up. Pretty lifeless. Obviously, for me, that first half, the back line just is not surviving without Miazga in the back. I mean, he's our glue guy. He's our, I know Lucho's our captain, but we talk about all the time how much of a captain he really is for the team and for that back line. And it's abysmal without him. It really is. It's pretty bad. I know Mosquera is a great player and stuff, but without Miazga, another solid veteran to kind of lean on in the back line, we don't really have a physical presence. And yeah, that first half was pretty bad.
Yeah, the first half roller coaster of emotions. I was very close with how quick they were scoring goals. I was close to turning it off. Um, the both Swiderski goals were both like within like 5 minutes of each other, I think. Honestly, they were both fantastic goals, but obviously with that back line, Hagelin, I think they were both Hagelin. He was supposed to
Yep.
mark them, and just he needs to do better at marking. I think that's his biggest downfall, in my opinion. But yeah, overall, on the second or on the first half, pretty rough.
I felt like that's a good shout, at least for Hagelin on like his worst part of his game sometimes is marking the guy. But I think like when you have one-on-one with him in space too, it like freaks me out. Like I see no one covering and I'm like, oh no, here we go. But you're right. At least in the first half, Charlotte's game plan was attack the width. They caught Barreal up a little bit on both goals, actually. They had balls through. One of them, the second goal, I think was a deflected one and eventually kind of wound up for the guy to play it in. But they were playing down the flanks. And when they whipped that one in, I agree with you. Like, it just wasn't good enough marking. And that's where you get Miazga. That's where you get his presence in the box. And maybe we give up one, like we had talked about in a previous podcast, but after the first one, that's where you miss Miazga, like Sam said, yelling at the other guys and saying, look, mark your man. Do not let him get to the ball first.
Right.
So I feel like that's an adjustment that right now we're just missing out of the defense. Honorable shout, though, for at least the first like 10, 15 minutes, we looked pretty decent. Kubo had a pretty good chance where the ball, I think, comes to Santos. He has a little interconnection with Lucho. It gets played into Kubo. He's right in front of the PK mark, and I want to just say the turf got it, and he couldn't do anything with it, but he's got to do better. Sam, you're shaking your head. I think you agree, right?
I'm done with Kubo playing striker. You can't do this. You got to stop doing this. Like Kubo and Santos up top is just not a great combination. You see it when you look at the starting lineup. It's very much one of those things like, all right, here we go. Like let's see if we can generate anything off of this, because those are two guys. Let alone Santos really has been in and out of the lineup, and Kubo he's not a striker. He doesn't play there. And so those two playing together up top just doesn't work. And once again, Ryan, you kind of touched on it. Like we've seen this in multiple weeks where they've played Kubo up top or they've subbed him in up top. The guy gets into good positions. He can't finish. Zach talked about this last week. He said he's my jersey swap of the week, but he can't finish. Like that's the only problem.
He's
So,
where he needs to be, but yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's just frustrating to see that up top, and we have somebody coming, and hopefully we get Vasquez back in a timely manner, and maybe we even reinforce the top some more. But I think that back line right now needs the most reinforcements.
When's the last time we had two true strikers playing up there together? I want to say maybe
I mean,
Vancouver
before
or
Gold
even
Cup.
Early June.
yeah, I want to say it's been a while. So the striker position has been interesting. We have good depth, but putting it together with a couple injuries and putting guys in positions where like Kimi, maybe is a striker but hadn't done as well. Kubo, like we said, has good pressure but just doesn't finish. So we're missing a little bit of that. But I think overall, like after that chance, we had a few others in the first half. We had a lot of free kicks that I think it's time that we all agree. We've been saying it for months that Lucho needs to stop taking some of the free kicks. Everyone or the corners are, going straight into the first defender, which is very frustrating. But I still feel like we had opportunities. It wasn't like we were completely lifeless, but just not good enough. You go down 2 goals and you're just trying to crawl your way back in front of a big crowd.
Yeah, you're just on the back foot. It's difficult to come back from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's true. And what was interesting in looking at, I don't know if you guys saw this, if anyone missed it watching or listening to us here, Pat Noonan's dad unfortunately passed away. So rest in peace to Pat's dad. Apparently he had given him a lot of his qualities and his traits. They used to call him Big Pete, but before the game, the team takes their photo and they're holding up a jersey for Big Pete, which is pretty cool, pretty special. I just wish the guys would have come out a little bit stronger in that first half and played motivated, but they came back and they, I think, really showed, Pat in the second half, look, we're playing for you, we're playing for your family. And that fight was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think, obviously seeing a comeback win is always pretty exciting. Or sorry, a comeback draw, not a comeback win, but
feels like a
seeing
win.
a comeback draw, like it's pretty exciting when your team does come back, but it is once again at the end of the day a draw.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it comes back to just the past couple of weeks without Miazga, without Vasquez in the lineup, without this consistency, because every week it's a different lineup. I think FCC is relying too much on that second half. Like in the beginning of the season, like we were talking about it so much of how many times we got the goal first. We were the first, goal scored, and then we defended the crap out of the game and we won a 1-goal game, right? Now you're seeing teams kind of push our back line a little bit more. They're scoring first, and we're having to rely on our Argentinian magic of Barreal and Acosta to kind of pick us up in the second half.
What was frustrating for me is about maybe 10 minutes into the game, Mascara gets kind of a cheap yellow. It was one where like they don't call it originally, but the guy pulls down his sock and shows the ref like his leg, and the ref's like, oh yeah, I see it now. Like, let's blow this back. Oh, and by the way, you get a yellow card for that. it's like, okay, well, that changes the way that he's going to play. Like, he's not going to play as aggressive. He got caught up too high on the first goal. Mosquera did, and it left kind of haggling on an island to mark. But that changes the way you play. I think we might touch on it here in a little bit, but the ref just kept calling yellows. So the guys were probably not playing as physical. I think in some moments throughout the first half and even into the second, Obi didn't quite look himself at first. I think he was playing a little bit more cautious, which, wow, Obi's playing a little bit cautious. Whoa. But he knows he's on a yellow card watch. So maybe that had something to contribute with maybe the pressing nature of the game and how that dictated things. Cause I felt like our midfield was lacking a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
I was just gonna say, and on top of that, um, I made a note to talk about Ian Murphy because, I mean, obviously the red card, the back line has just been rough to fill those roles, and he gets a red card, and then we come into this 2-week or this midweek game, and we're missing him, so it's hard to come into this next game with a positive attitude about our defense. So, but bringing it back, Ian Murphy's first yellow, I felt like that was completely questionable.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there was other things within the game where it warranted a yellow, but they didn't get one. Like, was it? I don't know if it was this one, but there were multiple tackles where it felt like it might even be a red card when you have Ted Uncle reffing. So, and then on top of that, his second one, I feel like that was definitely warranted as a yellow. He was kind of one of the last defenders, and him getting a red card just kind of shows his not immaturity, but kind of his he's still learning. And
it's the second time he's done this in like what, 3 games?
Double yellows.
Yeah,
it sure feels like it.
Yeah, I think it's been tough to watch that part of things because he's got such good talent. But you're right. I think he's missing, like we've all just talked about a little bit before, a leadership person or somebody to tell him like, look, dude, you're on a yellow. You can't go into that tackle. You know, you're the last defender, or maybe not. I mean, Mosquera is so quick. He could have covered, maybe, who knows? But you just can't leave your feet once you're on a yellow like that. And like you said, Zach, with a back line that's already diminished, why put your team in that position?
Right.
I think he knew right away. He kind of was upset about it at first. Mosquera was, and then you see Lucha come over and he's kind of like, you know what? I think that might be the right call, but kind of interesting there. So by the end of the first half, though, we're kind of talking about some fouls. Swiderski, the guy that scored 2 goals for them, he goes up for a header with Mosquera and he's like diving all over the ground like he got hit in the face when there's no contact at all. I think that should have been a yellow personally. And then he gets a yellow at the end of the game, which would have been his second. So he would have had a red card as well. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but I just felt like he embellished too much on it.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of those plays where obviously you're going up for the ball and there's not like you're looking for something, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, he didn't have really a plan when he, leaped in the air. He was just, I'm going to go up and I'm going to look for something here and see if I can get something for my team. And yeah, I definitely think there should have been something there. I think there should have been a yellow because that's a dive. It's a clear dive. And then, like you said, you got a yellow later in the game, and that could have been another red. I know it's later in the game, but that's still, that's going to impact that last part of the game. That's 10 on 10 at that point. So yeah, I mean, that could have definitely had an impact on the game.
And that's right at the end of the half too. So maybe that plays into the way, we come out of half. We come out a little bit sharper, a little bit quicker. We're on the front foot. We have some chances. Boreal gets fouled in the box, which, if you guys listen to the broadcast, it's like, okay, they were like, is that a foul? Is that a PK? It's questionable. And I'm like, he got kicked in the foot. He's going for the ball. Like, that's a clear PK. which it seemed like all game it was kind of that way. If you guys were watching, I mean, just felt like everything was against us from their perspective. What do you think?
Sam, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, so as far as Charlotte as a whole, I know the MLS and even the US men's national team, like they're trying to make Charlotte this hub of soccer. That it's just like it's a great atmosphere. Don't get me wrong, because it's an NFL stadium and it's kind of like Atlanta where they just fill the seats. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. That they're continuing to give these little tiki taka little fouls here and there that just it didn't deserve anything. And then obviously, like you said, the commentators just didn't seem to be on our side either, which that never seems to be the case, right? Every time we watch a game, it's everybody FC Cincinnati against everybody. So
Sam, did you see
which
anything with the commentators in this game? Anything that stood out?
yes, I did, and I'm sure FC Cincinnati Nation, Twitter Nation, anybody would have saw it. But the I think it was the second goal,
Mhm.
right, for Charlotte FC. The announcer, I can't remember his name, but everybody was saying that he sounded like Mickey Mouse during his goal call, and there were even some edits that were created with the Mickey Mouse clubhouse video over top of it, which was just absolute Twitter gold.
Pretty funny. I think that's hilarious. His like octaves like stayed up too. It didn't go back down. It just kind of like stuck that way. Which is funny because like there was some confusion, I think, between broadcasts. Like we thought, I mean, there was two women that called one version of it, and then there was another one where the guy did. And I like got confused by like the call as to who it was by so kind of funny there. But getting back to the second half, like we said, Barrial, draws that PK. Lucho puts it away. Happy to see him, get his 10th goal of the season. That puts him tied for third in the MLS. He also leads the league in through balls with 23. So I found that actually earlier today. And I thought it was kind of telling based on his ball between the legs of a defender to Barrial on the run in the 67th minute. Barrial makes a unreal cutback, puts it with the side of his left foot into the side of the net to tie it up 2-2. So really good fight from the boys like we talked about. Were you guys impressed by that goal? I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh man, it was a Meg pass and then a Meg goal. I mean, you can't really get much better than that, and outside of the foot. I
Mm-hmm.
think his. I don't know how he's not getting looked at from um, other international teams. To be honest, like he's grown so much since we first signed him. His um, consistency has been phenomenal lately.
Yeah. Sam
Yeah,
is
I think yeah, Barrial and Acosta just what a duo. Like in my mind, I was telling you guys this past weekend, top three duo at least in the MLS right now. They're just working on all cylinders. It seems like when they're on the same side of the field, they have the same mindset. You could see Barrial kind of makes that space for Lucho to pass that ball into. There's like a big wide space on the left hand side that he just runs right into perfectly, and the pass between the legs just crisp, literally like right on time.
so good.
And then the cutback with the finish on the outside of the boot, just class, absolutely class. So I'm with Zach. How is even like prem teams, European teams, like how are they not looking at this guy?
I agree. Sam, is that worthy of a jersey swap for this week?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
We want to get into it?
We can get into it if you want to get into it. Yeah.
I think that's a good segue, at least for me. Like that was a good move by him. I had him pretty high. I didn't actually have him as my jersey swap, but I thought you're right. His, playing with Lucho all year has been fantastic. I almost wonder, can we get him more involved into the attack in some ways without having him having to go back? I mean, the dude's played the most minutes of any of our players. So he's tracking back on defense. He's getting up in the attack. Imagine if he just had the energy just for the attack. I mean, he'd probably have twice as many goals.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive. Any final thoughts on the Charlotte game? We closed out the rest of the game like we touched on earlier, with a man down. Murphy gets his second yellow in the 75th minute, so we kind of shut down the rest of the game. We had a little bit of some iffy moments where one shot goes off the crossbar. They have a one-on-one with Celentano as well. So they did create some chances on us. Again, that kind of touches on the back line issue, but ultimately we pull it out, Sam, right, as a win, 2-2.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts for the Charlotte game, Zach?
No, I think we covered everything I had on my notes.
Awesome, man.
Zach's notes
are covered. So moving on, I guess, to the main attraction for us this weekend, like we mentioned, first time that all three of us got to watch a game here at TQL, man. What an atmosphere for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. We had the first game as Guatemala against Jamaica. Jamaica ends up winning 1-0. I was very, very impressed by the Guatemalan support. So shout out to them for making the track all around the country, maybe even from their country. The support was there. The vibes were there. The energy, it was loud. It was probably just as loud as an FCC goal, but like consistently throughout the game. So that was pretty cool. We'll get into the contrast between that game and the US game. But I thought that was cool. Did you guys want to shout any of them out for the first game?
Yeah, I mean, it was worrying you a little bit as well. I mean, there was a lot of them. I will say I think it was like 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half before their game, and the streets were flooded with Guatemalan fans selling, whatever they needed to sell as far as the street vendors, and then they're up on the steps just being loud with their air horns. And it was really funny seeing, going into the stadium, the air horn, like there was a pile of air horns on as you're going into the stadium because they were getting confiscated and stuff. But yeah, there were Guatemalan flags everywhere. The Guatemalan fans had not only Guatemalan flags, but they also had US flags. So they were cheering for the US in the second game.
They switched over their jerseys too, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's actually cool that you mentioned that. I don't know if there was a vendor selling them or something, but they had like the same shirt, but it was like US and Guatemalan flag on it. I thought that was pretty sweet. But yeah, Sam, your point about the air horns, those things are the most annoying things ever. Like there was one person, like as we were eating, they were just like 5 feet away from us and they're constantly blowing it. And it's like, I mean, I applaud the security for trying to do their best on confiscating every last one as much as they could. But yeah, you obviously know there's going to be a couple people sneaking in with them. But yeah, I mean, it felt like we were in Guatemala, to be quite honest. Like it didn't even feel like we were in Cincinnati. It was really cool to see them turn out and even see a few Jamaican fans. So I thought that was, I mean, this is my first time seeing like an actual as a neutral a match like that. So I thought that was really entertaining.
It's a true CONCACAF atmosphere. Everything about the night was CONCACAF-y. For those who maybe aren't familiar, CONCACAF is the region the U.S. plays. We play Mexico, Canada, obviously, a lot of the teams in this region, but it's known around the world for having its quirks. And one of them is, the atmosphere or the strange ways that the games go on, just bizarre things that happen. So the whole night was definitely that way. For me, like Sam had mentioned, the first game is packed. It's loud. It's exciting. Unfortunately, Guatemala loses for their fans that traveled. There was some Jamaicans there, which was cool to see too. So awesome atmosphere in that sense. They flipped the game over, and then the U.S. is playing Canada, where the first 45 minutes, it's just quiet. It's dead. I mean, the Bailey or the American Outlaws for the U.S., as we term the supporters, were trying their best, but it was a mixed bag of who was over there. So like we talked about, it was a little bit lifeless. We had been calling for our Cincinnati guys. This is a FC podcast, so let's shout it out. Brandon Vasquez and Matt Miazga available off the bench, didn't start, but how could you not start these guys? I mean, you're at home. They're going to bring the energy. And that's what we were missing in the first half.
Yeah, I think we were all in the same mindset with that first half. You know, it was the three of us, and then my brother went, my brother Zach went, and I think that first half, I think we would agree with Zach. We would want to sell our tickets. Like that's what he was talking about before the game, and you know, I think that first half definitely made us feel that way. But you know, going into that halftime, the big thing for me wasn't even like the first half. It was what happened at halftime. The whole scuffle between the U.S. men's national team in Canada and Miazga getting chippy with Richie Larea, and oh my gosh, like that was to me that was the highlight, and it was after the whistle blew. So the whole first half, I could care less about.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good point. The I don't know if you guys saw the video I don't know if it was halftime or at the end of the game where they had that video with showing like the scuffle inside of the um I guess in
The
the middle
tunnel.
of the tunnel, thank you. I don't know what you
Yeah, that
would
was
call that.
halftime.
Halftime, yeah. That it, I don't think I've ever seen a Canadian USA match where it's that chippy. Usually it's a fairly friendly matchup, but I guess stakes are semi high or quarterly high or whatever you want to call it.
Eh.
um, but sorry, that pun really threw me off. Um, but no, the with Vasquez and Miazga coming in the second half, I mean, it was just surreal hearing the whole entire stadium chant their name. Well, at least Vasquez, but Miazga gets a nice nod just from being the chippy one and kind of like you said before, Ryan, he really leads that back line, even if it's a men's national team game. Like you could see immediately the impact he had. Um, and to be honest, the when he scored, we all thought that was going to be the game winning goal, and lo and behold, we get a lousy ass, excuse my language, PK in the like was it like the nine? It was in extra time, wasn't it?
Yeah, like the 92nd minute.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I had to say about that part. But go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it on the head. I mean, we were just calling for him all game. And whether it was from starting lineup when it came out, the game just starts to go poorly for the US. After halftime, they don't make any adjustments. And then, we still need a striker. We need a presence up there. And that's what Brandon Vasquez provides, especially, in his home environment. So I'm in agreement. Once it started to go that way, I love the TQL cameramen that kind of shine the light on Vasquez and show him warming up, and everyone's like, "We want Vasquez." That was top 10 coolest moment for me at TQL Stadium. FC game, US game, whatever. That was so cool just to see that everyone was on the same page. And it was kind of almost like a slap in the face of the coach when they actually decided to bring him in. I think personally too late. If they brought him in earlier, we could have had more goals. They finally bring him in, the stadium erupts, and finally there's energy in the place, and everyone's excited, and everyone's into the game. And it really propelled the team to go on and score that goal. So, maybe it's a soft, I don't even want to say it's a yellow, but it's a yellow to me. Like, this is ridiculous of them not playing Vasquez. Give him time. So I was frustrated by that. The dude's been shown out. For me, we'll get into it just because it transitions well. But my jersey swap of the week was Brandon Vasquez. I mean, the guy had 2 goals in the week. He scored the past Sunday. He scored this week against Canada in front of our home crowd. Just unreal, effort, I would say. He gets unlucky in a few chances when he does come in, but scores his goals, has great energy, misses his PK by a mile, but that's fine. It's all good. But we miss him on FC's roster. So, Sam, what was your jersey swap of the week?
Yeah, you had mentioned it before. You wanted me to transition, but we'll do it now. I had Barreal as my jersey swap of the week. I just think he's been playing really well, and I think for the past, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 weeks, I think we've all had Barreal at some point as our jersey swap. So shout out to him. To Zach's point, being consistent. I really like how he drew the first foul. Count that as kind of an assist, right? And then, the great 1-2 with Acosta with, the outside finish that we mentioned. I just think that they're yin and they're not even yin and yang. Like they're just on the same page every time. And it's so awesome to see.
If you had to have a US jersey swap, I guess we'll ask you that one too, since we're touching on that one a little bit too. Who would you say from that game?
USA jersey swap.
Think of goalkeeper.
Yeah, I guess we'll go with Matt Turner because he was the man of the match. But I was trying to think of people other than Matt Turner that actually did something in the game, and he showed up and showed out at the end of the game. He let up 2 goals, which one was a PK, but yeah, I mean Matt Turner played really well as well. You give him the jersey swap from all of us.
Yeah. Zach, what about you?
I'm gonna have to go with on the Charlotte game. We'll go with Lucho. He just shows up every match. It seems like every time he comes in to play, he gives it his all. I absolutely love it. He's done everything we possibly would want from him. Obviously, we would love him to get Golden Boot, but that'll come with time. But I think his consistency has been so much better this year than probably any year he's really had. And it's a testament to what all the DC fans had said about him, like that he was not like he was good sometimes, like he's very hit or miss, but really I think he's really settling in with our team, and he's kind of showing that he can be that captain and be that person to lead the team on the supporter shield and cup run. So I think he deserves the jersey swap for me.
Love it. Great player. Going to be hopefully captain of the MLS All-Star game coming up next week, which would be pretty cool.
Oh man, that would be neat.
So Zach, I think you have real quickly our trivia question of the week before we take a break here.
Yes. So this is across all competitions. How many U.S. men's national team matches were decided by PKs, including Sunday's match? Bonus points for stating the record.
Like their record, like wins and losses.
Yeah, based off PKs.
Okay. I'm trying to think of how many. Obviously they played a lot of games. But how many have gone into PKs? I feel like that's a very rare thing that usually happens in all competitions, I'll say. But I'm gonna go with 8 matches, and I'm gonna go the record. I'm gonna go in our favor. I'm gonna go 5-3.
All right.
Ryan, what's your thoughts?
I originally thought 8 actually too, but I think it's higher. Like Sam said, like we played so many games as a national team, and PKs have been around for a little while. I'm going to say 15 games. I'm going to go actually with more wins than losses, but what do I want to say? I want to go with, I said 15. Well, I think we're going to have 10 wins and 5 losses.
All righty.
Well, tune in later in the episode for the answer for that. I'm excited to actually hear this one too, because when we got into that PK situation, I was very nervous. And I hate PKs in general for soccer. Bring back the exciting one-on-one with the keepers. I think those are more fun. But we're going to take a real quick break here and get a word from our sponsor, and then we'll be right back with you guys.
So Agility is a technology-driven soccer training facility. So we offer 6 facets of training. That would be Tech Touch with ball launchers that work on your first touch, the TSZ, which is the ESA equipment and working on decision-making. We also have a circuit. Circuit training would be taking the ESA equipment to the next level. It's kind of like a soccer obstacle course. Then we offer neuroscience training with our reflection tools, working on processing things a little bit faster, hand-eye coordination and such. We offer skills classes, which is your typical core skills training, Lots of people still enjoy that, so we work on a lot of attacking 1v1 skills. And then we also offer athlete development. So our athletes come here and they work on speed, agility, quickness, explosive movements, really just learning how to move and function a little bit better as an athlete.
Welcome back to the Flyin podcast. We're here with Sam and Zach. We got a full squad tonight. We just recapped a little bit of the FC game against Charlotte, a 2-2 tie. In the first part of the episode, we actually covered a little bit of the U.S. men's national team too. They had a nice win on PKs over Canada, and they advanced in the Gold Cup tournament to now play against Panama in the semifinals. Guys, just being at that game, it was a roller coaster of emotions. Where does that rank in your all-time like soccer games that you've been to? Sam, let's hear it.
I mean, that's tough to say. I don't know if it scratches the top 10, or top 5. Sorry, top 5. It's in the top 10 for sure. But I don't know if it's in my top 5 because I've got FC Cincinnati up there. We went to U.S. men's national team versus Mexico, Dos Acero. That's probably number 1. So I don't know if it scratches the top 5 for me.
Are you saying all matches I've been to?
Any game, any soccer game you've ever been to, where does that rank? Or maybe it's not even in your top, but
no, I would say it's probably top 5 for me for sure. It'd probably be on the lower, but it's definitely up there.
Yeah, I had mine like up there as well, probably top 5, maybe not number 1. I really want to do an episode where we cover like our favorite games that we've been to. I think that'd be a pretty cool episode to kind of recap things. But definitely happy that we got the win. It just took us a lot to get to that point, but definitely happy that it ended up that way. I'm excited to see Brandon Vasquez is going to be playing at home for this next game in San Diego, actually. So I'm hoping that maybe they actually start listening to the fans and give them a start that game. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
that'll be a great matchup, and I'm not sure what Panama their squad's set up to be, but I think Vasquez at his true home, I think that should draw some more adrenaline and confidence, build his confidence for both U.S. men's national team and with FCC. So
be interesting to see. That game is going to be Wednesday. So by the time you're listening to this, probably tonight. It's out west, so I think it might be a little bit later of a game, but good luck to the U.S. And I guess real quick, we'll just kind of cap the U.S. men's national team part of this FC Cincinnati podcast that's now a U.S. men's national team, segmented. Do you guys have a prediction for this coming game?
I think my prediction will be, I'm gonna go 1-0 U.S. men's national team. I think this will be a low scoring game. I think we score in the first half, believe it or not. And then I don't know if it's going to be that much of an exciting game. I could be wrong, but I'm going to go 1-0.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go a 2-1 win. I think Panama is going to get on the board first. I just feel like just with how the U.S. is doing, like they just seemed off for some reason. Like I couldn't exactly pinpoint it, but that match just, I don't know, maybe it's just PTSD from 4-3-3 formation or what, but it's just not vibing for me.
Was it anything to do maybe with the fact that we had to wait to play the second game? I don't know. There might be something there. And I think that may lead us to our cards of the week. So real quickly, my prediction is going to be another 2-0 because I'm just going to stick with that until it happens. But Zach, I think this might relate to your card of the week. So let's hear it, man.
Yeah, and Ryan and I and Sam all kind of touched on it while we were at the match, but yeah, I don't think it was a great idea. I think it was probably experimental. I don't think they've done this before, but having a double header at the same stadium back to back like that, with almost no time in between, it felt like it just wasn't. It just wasn't fun. It wasn't great because the American Outlaws kind of came in like kind of late. I heard waiting in line was like 45 minutes to an hour trying to get in.
Wow.
Whether that was at the beginning or whether that was like the second match, I don't know, but I just know wait times were really abysmal, at least coming through the front. And the fact that in the Guatemala game, the whole entire, I'm just going to call it supporter section, the whole entire supporter section was full on the sides, but in the middle, it was empty for the upcoming match with USA versus, oh my God,
Canada.
why am I Canada? Jeez, oh Pete. Yeah, so when the American Outlaws came in, they only filled the middle section, and all the other supporters didn't know the chants, didn't know any of the, just weren't. They're all Guatemalans on the right, and then kind of a mixture on the left. So it was like nobody really understood what was going on, and the vibes just felt off, like you said, Ryan. It just wasn't well performed, I feel like, by the staff. It just didn't sit right.
Didn't draw to our strengths where you can really kind of feed off the energy of the crowd. And, maybe it was that the first game was long. Everyone was sitting in the sun. By the second game, you're exhausted, and then you're watching a boring game. So that must have been part of it too. But Sam, what was your card of the week, either for FC or for the US?
Yeah, so my card of the week, going back to the FC Cincinnati game, was like you mentioned before, we were going to touch on the refereeing a little bit more, and my card of the week is Ted Unkel. I just thought he was awful. I thought this was a terribly reffed game. He gave out 11 total cards, 10 yellow, 1 red. Apparently this red that he gave Murphy was his first red of the season that he's given out. So did a little research on what he's done this past season, as well as what he's done as a referee in the past. But he's ref 3 Charlotte games in total this season, including this past one, and has given out 11 yellows total in those games. This season alone, he is 4th in the MLS in yellow cards, giving out 66.
There's so many stats on refs. Oh my God.
And then his MLS debut was in 2013. And so I actually I thought this was hilarious. There's actually a petition to remove him as an MLS referee, and it was started back in 2018.
Wow.
It is currently sitting at 2,235 signatures out of 2,500. So they're very close to their goal.
So
wow,
we're all on the same page, and there's this group out there that just does not like this guy, right?
No, yeah.
So interesting, because during the broadcast, they're like, yeah, Ted Unkel is going to be the referee of the MLS All-Star game next week. And I'm like, is that because like there's going to be like no fouls, or they're going to be like a lot of cards? Like it's a friendly game, so I don't know what's going to happen, but it may have a lot of yellow or red cards in the game. Should be interesting.
Yeah, Ryan, go ahead, Zach.
Well, I was just going to say that just kind of blows my mind that he's only 4th out of, I don't know how many refs there are, but the fact that he's not even number 1, that kind of blows my mind. It's probably Elfast is probably number 1.
I think the top ref had like 80 some yellow cards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan, card of the week.
My card of the week was Aaron Bupenza, our new designated player, came in this week to Cincinnati. And it's not the player that I'm yellow carding or red carding. I'm so pumped about this guy, but his agent. We see a photo of him in the airport, and this guy's outfit is just something else. I mean, we're going to get a photo on here to show it at some point in these reels, but it was a Dior outfit. So shout out to your brother Sam, for kind of pointing that out there. Maybe we're not all in with the fashion sense, but this guy was just ridiculous. He's in this suit with these baggy pants that kind of look like high waters too, but they are like striped or lined or something. I don't even know, man.
Creased, yeah.
Like a
Creased, yeah.
sweater for pants.
I was like, dude, I don't know if this is fashion like overseas, but I've never seen anything like this.
I couldn't tell if it was very like light or if it was heavy. Like it looked like both. So I was very, I mean, kudos to him for I guess being experimental, but it was kind of an interesting photo, if you will. Yeah.
Bupenza's got swag though. I don't know if you guys saw, he did an interview at Mercy Health yesterday and he's wearing some Air Jordans. He's got some stylish sunglasses, but our favorite part, and we're going to really kind of, put this on here, is his back is covered in a lion tattoo.
That thing.
Already part of the FC Cincinnati lore.
I love that. It was meant to be. And he's got the little lion emoji in all of his social media handles. So
couldn't be a better fit.
Great fit. Yeah. Great fit. So transitioning then here, we got a game coming up where this guy's available. So let's see this guy get out here on the field and make a difference. So this week we have two pretty big games in FC Cincinnati land. I guess not technically here, but just in general for the team. In New York, we're going to be playing the New York Red Bulls, actually in a soccer stadium on actual grass this time. I'm excited to actually see that. So New York Red Bulls had a big win this past week against New England. It was a 2-1 win, but they were playing with a man up. So for them, that's a big win considering New England was the second best team. They've had a pretty decent record at home, so it should be a good game. Like we talked about, we're going to be maybe short a couple guys, but what are your initial thoughts on this game coming up, Sam?
Yeah, I think, the last time we played them was the Open Cup penalty win. I believe so. And I definitely think this will be a tough game. I think it's not necessarily a trap game, but they're 10th on the table right now and they're not in the playoffs, right? So we really need to secure this win. No more draws against these teams that are fringe playoff teams. We need to assert ourselves a little bit more. And I think that we need to rely on everybody. That takes everybody to kind of pull together, because obviously we've been talking about all podcasts, the people that we're missing. Now the people that are there, let's stand up. Let's do something about it. Let's kind of, make some noise, if you will, on the away match.
Kind of show that our depth can win games as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have both touched on it. We knocked them out in the Open Cup at their home too, wasn't it? So
yeah,
and it was obviously won by PKs, so they're going to probably be back for blood. They really want to beat us. It's hilarious, and I'm sure you guys may have noticed it, but their top scorer right now is Frankie Amaya.
I saw that
with 3 goals, and I'm like, man, if that's the case, then we should have no problem just creaming them this week. So, and on top of that, they have no Tolkien, so that's always a big win, because he pretty much does all their crossing. So, I think I noted that I was expecting a draw, but honestly, I think if Bupenza is here, if he subs in on Wednesday, I think we can get a solidify a win. But honestly, without him, I feel like with Santos and Kubo, thank you. My goodness, I am just not with it today.
You're good,
both of them, I think it's going to be tough getting some goals up front.
Yeah, good shout. What's interesting today, the injury report comes out and Kubo's listed as questionable with a hamstring injury.
Oh, missed that one.
Even better time for Bupenza to show up and hopefully play. Pat's kind of downgraded it in his comments on if he's going to be available, and he thinks that Saturday might be a better game, but I think we might have to lean on him a little bit more and earlier on than we were expecting, just because otherwise, who else do you put up top other than like Lucho, which they did in the second half of the Charlotte game, or, do you have Kimi? Do you give him another chance? But personally, I don't think you do. I'm hoping Bupenz is available and can show out and give us some good minutes, and hopefully some goals. But to your point earlier in the podcast, Sam, let's see some early goals just to set the tone, especially on the road. Maybe we don't come in with the greatest confidence. I felt like earlier in the year, we're this big bad team that doesn't get goals scored on us, and we go on this good run. But the last couple games, I mean, it's been like a 7-2 on the score aggregate or something like that. So teams are finding ways to score and probably feel better about it coming into playing us. So maybe that's because we're missing a little bit of the yelling of Matt Miazga at the other team that kind of scares him away. But that's a side note on that part. So looking forward to the Red Bulls game, though. Should be a good one. Like Sam said, sometimes these are considered what we say like trap games. But I'm predicting, at least for this one, I think we're going to win 3-1. I think we're going to come out and just get some goals early. I think we're still going to rely a lot on Acosta and Barrial. But Bupenza has come out and probably said the quote of the year. If you guys saw it yesterday, did you guys see this?
I have not.
No, sorry, I don't follow him like you do.
There was this interview he had yesterday in his introductory, press conference, and he says, "I've been following the team for a while, and I watched Lucho play." He goes, "We will score all of the goals." And I'm like, that's awesome. That is probably like quote of the year right there. He's like basically saying that between him and Lucho, like it's going to happen. So I'm really excited about that.
Sounds like a little bit Ibrahimovic, like, right?
I love it. I mean, they have the same back tattoo. So,
man, could you imagine if he came back and just started scoring like crazy and just won the Golden Boot? Like, really? I mean, it's like 15 goals right now. Is that where we're at?
13.
13. I think that's so
13,
doable
13.
to come back and
he has the second
that.
half like Brenner did last year. I mean, just start
Yep.
getting some hat tricks, but let's get one goal first. Let's just start it out, ease him into it, but get a couple backflips in there. So that's his favorite celebration. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sam, any thoughts to wrap up New York Red Bulls game coming up on Wednesday?
No, I just think, once again, this is going to be a big game on the road. And I think, we've said all the time, you win on the road and you win at home, you draw on the road. And that's kind of the formula, if you will, to stay afloat and to keep the energy positive. But we got to get a win on the road at some point here. Our road record is not looking too good right now. Obviously our home record's fantastic, but I'd like to get a road dub here.
It's a huge opportunity as well with Nashville playing Philadelphia this week. We went up actually one more point than last week on the Supporter Shield. We're now up 7 points and have a game in hand with the next best team, which is Nashville at this point currently. So if we get 3 points, they draw, or even if Nashville loses this game, I mean, it lengthens our lead even without two of our better players, which is just such a cool thought to me. So great opportunity. I think the boys will be ready to go. They'll be buzzing. I haven't said that in a little bit, but they'll be buzzing. So speaking of Nashville, we play them on Saturday at home. What a huge game. Of the week of the rivalry in the MLS, where Nashville fans think this is a rivalry. A real rivalry actually might be with New York Red Bulls. So Saturday's game is kind of important, but maybe the Red Bulls are more of a rival.
Yeah, and I guess really, I mean, both are must wins, to be honest. I mean, we got to stay that much more ahead of the second place team, but if Nashville loses to Philadelphia, that would be wonderful, right? And I guess we kind of missed it. Sam, what was your match prediction for Red Bulls?
Red Bulls, I'm gonna go with 2-0 FC Cincinnati. I think we played pretty well coming off the penalty win that we had earlier this season.
Oh man, I don't know if I could go with a shutout, but I think I'm gonna go with a 2-1 draw or 2-1 win. Sorry.
All right. So we're all on the winning part of things. That's good.
Yeah.
Nashville will be a little bit more interesting, I think. But I think an FC supporter had planted this tweet out there in the world of soccer Twitter. Apparently, their best player, Hani Mukhtar, who leads the league in goals, is rumored to be looking into a transfer to the Saudi league right before the game against Philadelphia and against us. So there's a little bit of turmoil over in Nashville land right now, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was interesting. I saw that tweet, and we were texting back and forth about it. You were like, you just bought a house in Nashville. He
Yeah,
really cares about that, area, and it would take a lot of money for him to hop on over to the Saudi league, but they have plenty of it, so I'm sure they'll offer whatever they want. But yeah, against Nashville here, the first time they played, it was a 1-0 victory for us. And I just I don't know if we have it in us to keep a clean sheet in this game, because we were honestly, possession wise, and every single other like category, we were dominated. We were on the counter most of the game, and we scored in the first half. That was a Vasquez goal in the first half, but other than that, the game really, they were taking it to us, and once again, it was one of those games where you just defended for our lives there. So once again, I think maybe not in the Red Bulls game as much, but for me, for this Nashville game, we definitely need to score first, to kind of be out on that front foot. I think we have the possibility to come back against Red Bulls, because they are 10th on the table, and even though they are good at home, I think we could be a little bit more counter attacky, if you will, against Red Bulls. But against Nashville, I mean, this is going to be the battle of the MVPs. So I
who's
think
gonna show up? Who's gonna
I
show
think
up?
it'll be a knockout drag out type thing, and whoever scores first wins first.
Yeah, I was gonna say, really with this whole Hani Mukhtar transfer up in the air, I think he's gonna be off of his game a little bit. I think that's gonna be a distraction for him a little bit. And I think also playing at home will, obviously, we're kind of a powerhouse there. So like you said, Sam, I think if we can score first, we can hold them and really battle it out and keep that win secure for us. But really, I think from what I've looked at some stats, three of their six losses were in the last 5 games. So I think that kind of shows that they're kind of in the second half of the season, they're getting a little tired, little diminished on their depth. And they haven't scored in the last 3 matches. They've been shut out all 3. So I think that says a lot about where they're at as far as their form. And I think we'll be able to really secure a win this weekend.
They bring back actually a Canadian national player who scored against the US is the only thing that worries me. Otherwise, I agree, Zach. Their depth isn't as good, but they have good players, and they get this guy back too. We'll see if he's kind of exhausted from playing in the Gold Cup and then having to come and play again at TQL, where he just lost. So that'll be something to look at. But it'll be a great atmosphere. Obviously, I think they announced today it's going to be a sellout already.
Yep.
So I'm very excited about this game, especially because of all that is built up by Nashville fans as to what this game is. Like, they're going to be so excited, and we're going to be like, all right, guys, this is just another game. Like, but it means a lot. I do think that it does, especially right before you go into a month-long break until our next game. Our next MLS home game is not until, I think, September, but we don't have a MLS game until August 23rd because of Leagues Cup. So going into the break, I want to set our tone, and I don't want to leave a bad taste in my mouth of, hey, this game against Nashville is something I'm going to be thinking about, even though we have, possibly a lead going into this break. But I think personally it'll be a 1-0 game again. And Lucho is going to show why he's MVP. So, Sam, what's your prediction?
I'm gonna go with I think this is gonna be a tough game, but I'm gonna go 1-1 draw. That's what I'm gonna go with. I say hopefully FC Cincinnati scores first, but if they don't, I think Nashville scores and then we'll score in the second half and we'll be the comeback kids, kind of like the Reds have been.
Zach, what about you?
I'm gonna go with a 3-1 win. I think.
Whoa.
I think honestly, with like I said, with their form and hopefully having Bupenza, I think we'll really dominate the game.
I think how ironic would it be for us to just have Bupenza come in and just score like 2 goals in that game and kind of just like put it into the face of Nashville fans like right now, because they're looking for a striker. They don't have a DP striker, and that's what they're missing. So if our guy comes in and just destroys them, that would be just icing on the cake. I think it'd be
surreal.
Fantastic. So excited for that. I think that covers our 2 games coming up, but Zach, you got to give us our trivia answer here, or a question, I guess.
Oh, right. Yeah, I almost forgot. So the question was, in all competitions, how many U.S. men's national team matches were decided by PKs? And I believe, Sam, you said 8. And then remind me, I think it was 5-3 record.
Yep.
And then Ryan, you said 15, and you said just a winning record. Was it? Did you say 10-5? All right. The answer is 9.
Whoa.
Yes,
Dang it.
it was very close, Sam. And the record is 5-4. So you were super close.
That was really close, Sam.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad.
You know your PK shootouts for the US team.
What can I say? I was feeling the vibes of Matt Turner on them.
And truthfully, you'd think there'd be like, that would be an easy stat to find, but no, I really had to dig, and like it was difficult, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, no, I like that. That we at least have a winning record now because of this game that we were at too in PKs. So hopefully we don't have to go to PKs the rest of this tournament. But I wanted to at least ask you guys this, or at least tell you this stat that I found too that I thought was pretty cool. It was going to be my question, but the last time that an American soccer player has scored in their home stadium for the U.S. men's national team was in 2016. And can you guys guess who that was scored by? Sam?
Clint Dempsey.
Who was he playing for?
Seattle Sounders.
It's pretty cool that, Brandon is the most recent one, and probably will be that way for a while too, I think.
Hope so.
Yeah, that was too easy of a trivia question.
Yours was way better. Yours is way better. Any closing remarks, guys, before we get out of here on this Tuesday?
No, I'm just excited to have 2 games again this week. I'm sure the guys are thinking they're probably a little tired of it. 2 games again this week, but for us being fans, that means we get to see our favorite team play twice. So
yeah, let's get back into it. I mean, we've got these 2 games and then Leagues Cup, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to Leagues Cup. I'm curious to see how this plays out. So closer it gets to that, the more excited I get.
Yeah, we're 2 games away from a little bit of a break for the guys too. After a long first half of the season, we've played 25 games so far in this season between all competitions. So it's been a good run so far. Let's get another 2 wins this week. I want you guys to tune in next week. We have a big episode coming up for you. The MLS All-Star game is going to be on the 19th, I believe. But next week we're going to have an interview with an MLS player. Are you guys excited?
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll get to pick his brain a little bit.
So tune in for that sneak peek. Maybe he plays up north. It's not for a rival team, but we'll let people guess. I'm excited for that. So tune in next week, guys. Thanks for joining tonight, and we'll see you next week.